to have joined us today. It's a beautiful day here at Fort Hood, and I would submit no better way to spend a Friday than to honor those who have given their adult lives to service of our country. It's one of my distinct honors as a commander to preside over ceremonies like this. It is a profound moment where we pause our demanding operational tempo to do something fundamentally important, to recognize a level of service and sacrifice that many will never understand. Today we celebrate 4 remarkable careers and their families. They embody the very essence of our Army values. We are here to honor the service of Staff Sergeant Salvador Hernandez, Lieutenant Colonel Sam Hebron, Chief Warrant Officer 4 Benjamin E. Richards, and Command Sergeant Major Megan Grant. Their collective service represents over a century of service to this nation, and their impact on our Army is immeasurable. Let's give them a quick round of applause before we continue. But behind these service members are the sacrifices that often go unseen, the birthdays, the anniversaries, the graduations missed, the first steps of children and first words that happen during deployments, the spouses who carry the weight back home while their soldier is away. These sacrifices are an inseparable part of today's celebration as well, and I'd like to give our families a round of applause for everything that they represent. In a moment, each retiree will be recognized with their Army family beside them and their family beside them. A powerful reminder that none of us serves alone. We often say the strength of the Army is its soldiers, and the strength of our soldiers is their families. To the families here today, thank you again. Your strength has made this possible. Today, we'd like to briefly honor each of our retirees and the families who made their service possible. None of these careers would have reached such heights without the steadfast support of their loved ones. First, we recognize Staff Sergeant Salvador Hernandez, his wife Starlet, and their daughters, Layla, Ella, and Mila. The strength of our Army is forged in the character and competence of our non-commissioned officer corps, and Staff Sergeant Hernandez is a shining example of that strength. Beginning his journey as an infantryman, he took on the toughest and most critical roles, from leading a squad in combat with the 1st Cavalry Division to shaping the next generation of soldiers as a drill sergeant. He has been at the tip of the spear all of the time, deploying 4 times in defense of our nation's interests. When you look at his awards, you see the story of a modern NCO, courage under fire, commitment to his soldiers, and a deep sense of duty. Staff Sergeant, your leadership at the tactical level is where missions are won and lost, and you have consistently delivered that victory. To your family, your wife Starlet, and your daughters Layla, Ella, and Mila, thank you. Your resilience and support on the home front gave your soldier the strength to serve. Next, we have the distinct privilege of honoring Lieutenant Colonel Samuel Hebron and his 2 sons, Sammy and Teddy, as well as his daughter, Kristen. It is rare to witness a career that spans 4 decades. Lieutenant Colonel Hebron's service began before some of the soldiers in our ranks were even born. That's something that I'm recognizing even more and more as I continue to serve as well, so you're not alone there. From a 17-year-old enlistee in the Army Reserve to a combat veteran in Desert Storm to a commissioned officer leading in Iraq, and finally to an active duty leader here at Fort Hood, your journey is one of extraordinary perseverance. He chose to serve and then chose to serve again and again. His return to Fort Hood, the very post from which he first deployed, brings his remarkable career full circle. We're happy to have you here today. He represents the institutional knowledge and unwavering patriotism that holds our officer corps together. Lieutenant Colonel Hebron, your 40 years of service are a testament to the enduring spirit of the American soldier and leader, and we thank you. To your children, thank you for sharing your father's time and talent with our Army for so long. We also celebrate Chief Warrant Officer 4 Benjamin Richards, his wife Monica, and their 5 children, Devin, Jada, Shakira, Benny, and Levi. The Warrant Officer Corps is home to our Army's premier technical experts, and CW4 Richards is the epitome of that cohort. As an air and missile defense systems integrator, he has operated at the highest echelons of our most complex warfighting systems, from advising commanders deploying to Iraq, Afghanistan, and Guam, his expertise has really protected our forces and preserved the U.S. strategic advantage. Decorations including the Legion of Merit are impressive, but the hardware on his chest tells a different story. Ranger tab signifying his grit, a space badge showing his technical acumen, and a senior instructor badge proving his commitment to teaching others. He is the total package. To his wife Monica and their 5 children, thank you for your incredible support over the years through 9 overseas tours and countless training events. Fourth and finally, we honor Command Sergeant Major Megan Grant, her daughter Deasia, and grandson Cassian. Command Sergeant Major is more than a rank, it is a position of ultimate trust and responsibility. Command Sergeant Major Grant has been the senior enlisted advisor at every level, from brigade to joint environments, and culminating as a standard bearer for the 163rd Intelligence and Electronic Warfare Battalion. Pretty impressive. Her career path through the intelligence community placed her at the nexus of our nation's most critical challenges. She has not only led soldiers, but has also helped shape strategy. Her pursuit of knowledge, earning both a bachelor's and a master's degree while serving, is impressive, and it sets the standard for what a senior leader and Army professional should be, one who always learns and strives to get better. She is the epitome of a quiet professional whose impact far outweighs her public recognition today. To your daughter Deasia and grandson, thank you for being the foundation upon which her incredible career was built. Let's give all of these retirees and their families one more round of applause. The departure of these 4 leaders is a significant loss for our Army, but their legacy is not in the positions they held, it is in the soldiers that they trained. So that is the gain, even though we lose amazing people today and leaders. They've mentored leaders and NCOs and soldiers, and they've enhanced the security of our nation as a result of that. So this is a generation that is stronger because of your service to us. Your final formation with this command is now complete. A new life of well-deserved freedom with your families awaits. May your days be filled with family, purpose, peace, and happiness. On behalf of the President of the United States, a grateful nation, and the first team, I say thank you. Job well done.
At this time, Colonel Hertling and Command Sergeant Major Hubanks are moving to the patch to recognize and congratulate today's retirees. Our first retiree is Lieutenant Colonel Samuel J. Hebron. The family of Lieutenant Colonel Hebron is joining him on the patch. Lieutenant Colonel Hebron has served this great nation for over 40 years. He enlisted in the United States Army in April 1986 and graduated from basic combat training at Fort Jackson, South Carolina in 1986. He further completed the Reserve Officers Training Corps program at St. Mary's University in 1993. Lieutenant Colonel Hebron has deployed in support of combat and operational missions to Saudi Arabia, Iraq, and Kuwait. His top 3 awards and decorations are the Meritorious Service Medal, the Army Commendation Medal, and the Army Achievement Medal. Lieutenant Colonel Hebron has 3 children, 2 sons, Sammy and Teddy, and 1 daughter, Kristen. At this time, Colonel Hertling is presenting Lieutenant Colonel Hebron his retirement award. His certificate of appreciation, signed by the Commander-in-Chief. And his certificate of retirement, signed by the Chief of Staff of the Army. At this time, a folded American flag is being presented to Lieutenant Colonel Hebron. Ladies and gentlemen, we now introduce Lieutenant Colonel Samuel J. Hebron, United States Army, retired. Please give him a round of applause. Over 40 years of dedicated service. Our second retiree is Chief Warrant Officer 4, Benjamin E. Richards. The family of Chief Warrant Officer 4 Richards is joining him on the patch. Chief Warrant Officer 4 Richards has served this great nation for over 24 years. He enlisted in the United States Army in March 2002 and earned his military occupational specialty as an air and missile defense crew member, and completed Warrant Officer Candidate School at Fort Rucker, Alabama, and the Warrant Officer Basic Course at Fort Sill, Oklahoma, graduating as an air and missile defense systems integrator. He has served in numerous duty stations across the Army, including Camp Humphreys, South Korea, Fort Hood, Texas, Schofield Barracks, Hawaii, Vilseck, Germany, Fort Bliss, Texas, in United States Army Warrant Officer Career College, Fort Novosel, Alabama. Chief Richards has deployed in support of combat and operational missions to Afghanistan, Iraq, Guam, and Poland. His top 3 awards and decorations are the Legion of Merit, Meritorious Service Medal, and the Army Commendation Medal. His badges include the Ranger Tab, Army Basic Space Badge, and the Senior Army Instructor Badge. His foreign awards include the German Armed Forces Proficiency Badge and the Holland 4-Day Event Cross. Chief Richards is married to Monica Richards, and they have 5 children, Devin, Jade, Shakira, Benny, and Levi. Chief Richards has been approved by Headquarters, Department of the Army, to retire at the rank of Chief Warrant Officer 4. At this time, Colonel Hertling is presenting Chief Warrant Officer 4 Richards his retirement award. A certificate of appreciation signed by the Commander-in-Chief. And his certificate of retirement signed by the Chief of Staff of the Army. Mrs. Richards is now receiving a certificate of appreciation signed by the Chief of Staff of the Army. The 1st Cavalry Division Dorsey Award. And a bouquet of red roses. At this time, a folded American flag is being presented to Chief Warrant Officer 4 Richards. Ladies and gentlemen, we now introduce Chief Warrant Officer 4 Benjamin E. Richards, United States Army, retired. Please give him and his family a round of applause. Over 24 years of dedicated service. Our third retiree is Command Sergeant Major Megan R. Grant. The family of Command Sergeant Major Grant is joining her on the patch. Command Sergeant Major Grant has served this great nation for over 31 years. She enlisted in the United States Army in 1995 and graduated Advanced Individual Training at Fort Huachuca, Arizona, where she earned the Military Occupation Specialty of All Sources Intelligence Analyst. She has served in numerous duty stations across the Army, including Fort Carson, Colorado, Fort McPherson, Georgia, Fort Hood, Texas, Stork Barracks, Germany, Aberdeen Proving Ground, Maryland, Fort Sam Houston, Texas, Vicenza, Italy, NSA, Georgia, and Fort Drum, New York. Her top 3 awards and decorations are Iraqi Campaign Medal, Global War on Terrorism Expeditionary Medal, and the Global War on Terrorism Service Medal. Command Sergeant Major Grant has 1 daughter, Deasia, and 1 grandson, Cassian. At this time, Colonel Hertling is presenting Command Sergeant Major Grant her retirement award. Her certificate of appreciation, signed by the Commander-in-Chief. And her certificate of retirement, signed by the Chief of Staff of the Army. Command Sergeant Major Grant's mother is now receiving a certificate of appreciation, signed by the Chief of Staff of the Army. And a bouquet of red roses. At this time, a folded American flag is being presented to Command Sergeant Major Grant. Ladies and gentlemen, we now introduce Command Sergeant Major Megan R. Grant, United States Army, retired. Our fourth retiree is Staff Sergeant Salvador Hernandez. The family of Staff Sergeant Hernandez is joining him on the patch. Staff Sergeant Hernandez has served this great nation for over 20 years. He enlisted in the United States Army in May 2006 and completed 1 station unit training, earning his military occupation specialty as an infantryman. He has served in numerous duty stations across the Army, including Fort Drum, New York, Joint Base Lewis McChord, Washington, Fort Jackson, South Carolina, and Fort Hood, Texas. Staff Sergeant Hernandez has deployed in support of combat and operational missions to Iraq, Afghanistan, Lithuania, and Finland. His top 3 awards and decorations are the Meritorious Service Medal, the Army Commendation Medal, and the Army Achievement Medal. Staff Sergeant Hernandez